The sky has begun to darken already, it seems. Home, still an hour away at that. Work didn't run long, at least no more so than typical. The culprit of today's detour was none other than the usual suspect, construction. Of course, I was well aware of the closing highways in advance, but that won't stop me from cursing the government as I maneuver the twists and curves of this turbulent back road. If it weren't for the semi-constant construction on the highway, I doubt this tree-infested back road would be used at all. The county certainly doesn't seem to acknowledge its existence in the slightest. Cracking, crumbling asphalt litters the road for miles. It doesn't look or feel as if it's ever been redone. I hit a sharp bump about a mile back, and after convincing myself there was no need to check my tires, I moved onward. Now, my naivety is catching up with me. Something is very obviously wrong. The car tremors and fights the wheel. At this point, it's too dangerous to carry on any further. No escaping it. I'll have to pull over as soon as the shoulder is wide enough to nestle the car within its margins. Looking at my front left tire, all I could do was exhale a drown-out sigh. Flat. Next, my phone. No service. But I suppose that's to be expected when you're practically out in the middle of a forest. There's another car pulled off the road, way off, at a sharp curve a little in front of mine. The closer I get to the car, the less hope I have that this took place in recent history. An old model, blocky shape, flaky gray paint, front tire shredded, rims taken by overgrowth. No driver. They probably got out and walked. If it wasn't so late and the closest town wasn't still miles away, I'd walk too. Still, I can't help but wonder why they never came back for their car. Perhaps they thought it wasn't worth the trouble. Whilst leaving the wrecked car, the overgrowth around the rims wrapped and fluttered at the edges of my peripheral. Upon a second, more focused glance, the weeds remained dormant, illusions of a light breeze. Grass whistles during the walk back to my car, a sound I would surely enjoy in any other circumstance, but the mind is preoccupied at the moment. Sitting in the driver's seat, the overhead lights radiate a warm yellow-orange. My head presses against the wheel as I ponder what could be done. Maybe I should start walking. As quickly as the thought came out, another entered. Somewhere deep in my consciousness, I continued to worry about the fate of the other driver. These thoughts keep me anxious. A lot can happen in a forest, even more so at night. I should wait for morning. Tossing and turning in the back seat, an hour passes, then another. I can't sleep. A restless mind knows no peace. There is little to gain tonight by worrying about tomorrow. I know this, yet it changes nothing. Eyes closed, a tune, faint and delicate, emerges from the forest. It's strange, both unnatural and familiar. Yes, familiar. I have to roll down the window, hear it clearer. Is someone else out there? Doubt it. Who in their right mind would be out here this late at night? Campers? The trees waver subtly to the soft timber. Sanity tells me, begs me to stay in the car, and curiosity beckons me with swaying branches to pursue this distant tune. After much back and forth in my head, I finally stand at the boundary between road and forest. I can't help myself. I have to unravel this mystery, solve this mystery. The trees stood slightly apart, making a path of sorts. The melodic tone evolved, still soft, but now with an eagerness that was not present previously. My first step on the woodland dirt elicited excitement from the trees. Their leaves rustled in the wind. The odd timing of the ordeal does little to ease my nerves, and nothing to sate my curiosity. The next step offers nothing new, only a reminder that a return to the car is still entirely possible. I could always turn around if... Nonsense. This is no fairy tale. Onwards. Something so marginal that I am only now starting to notice with each step I take. The simple tune raises in volume. The anomalous melody wafts through the forest. It has a deceivingly soft and amicable tone, like a lure, as if I was meant to pursue it. My intrigue peaks again. Trunks groan as though communicating with each other. Their whispers, unintelligible at first, creep into my mind. Free our soul. Again, free our soul. Louder, free our soul. The trees began to dance, the bark of which twisted and splintered with every note of the fictitious lullaby. Strangely enough, I do not feel the fear that I am certain I should. This melody, it captivates me, urges me forward. No longer concerned over the woes of tomorrow, I am determined to decipher the enigma of tonight. The trees refuse to let the moonlight enter their domain. All that can be heard is the creaking of restless hope in an unrelenting song. Even so, I feel as though I'm being observed, studied. Little time passes. I have become engulfed in this thought. It is no longer a feeling. I am being watched. One part of me desires to know the truth. Every other part is petrified at the thought of what I may find if I turn around. I feel as though I must venture forth, yet I wonder. No, I shouldn't. I suppose there are some questions I don't want answered right now. The only puzzle I intend to solve is that of this familiar melody, far louder than it was even minutes ago. The origin can't be much further now. The changing melody teases me forward. My legs march forth, compelled by the whimsical notes that still remain hidden to me. To be candid, I don't feel the same command I once had over my legs. They tramp on their own now. Never before have they walked with such purpose, not even for me. Through all the oddities of this strange happening, what remains in the forefront of my thoughts is the familiarity the tune holds in my mind. Where have I heard it before? I know I have. I must have. Muttering to myself, I scan my recollections, throwing out circumstance after circumstance, scenario after scenario. Every possible occurrence of the congenial tune sprinted across my mind in a mere moment. Very few stood out as a plausible origin. This realization led to only two remaining possibilities. The tune predates memory, or it never existed to begin with. It must be the former. I'm not mad. I am not mad. I find myself bargaining with the same sanity that begged me to stay within the confines of my car, the same sanity that I neglected. Regret finally made its move and seeped into cracks of insecurity. All the while, the song has grown to a near deafening volume, evolving far beyond its inception, a climax of sorts. Each step brings exponential change to the piece, the growth of which had been linear up until now. No matter which way I turn, the noise follows. It's as if it's reverberating off the oaks, trapping me in a booming echo chamber. There is no longer a trail to follow. I am the epicenter. Covering my ears does nothing to drown the noise, scrambling in an unknown direction. I can't help but fall to my knees as a high-pitched ringing assaults my ears. The melody! The melody! Your tone jounces around the crevices of my mind. Who? Where? I will not be deterred, I scream out, wanting to make sure I was heard. The only response was an even harsher, vexatious ringing. I can't take this any longer. My pace must quicken. The trees croak and shift, roots slithering and contracting. They urge me down the path of the recent creation. Dashing now, they shriek at me as they're past, repeating the same phrase as before. The branches lower, twigs and leaves attacking my sense of sight. My arms raise instinctually to defend my head. None of this makes any sense. None of this is possible. My foot caught on a root that I swear wasn't there. While I fell to the ground, time seemed to slow. For a moment, a brief moment, there was peace. The instant I hit the earth, time resumed as normal. The ringing has stopped. I find myself on the outskirts of a small clearing with a stump at its center. Someone sits atop the stump with shadows cast from the moonlit trees. Thank the heavens, it appears to be a man, but something feels slightly off. He is yet to acknowledge me. Perhaps he too is enthralled by the music produced from his... What is that? I get a little closer, hoping to catch his attention without disrupting his performance. As I do, however, certain details of the man's appearance stick out. His legs, well, what I thought to be his legs, seem to be wooden roots, split and anchored into the ground. Branches sprouting from his back, twigs from his arms, and leaves from his fingers. Most disturbing of all, if it were not for his grotesque transformation, I could swear he was once like me, human. He is holding some sort of large wooden instrument, and only now as I come closer, as he sees playing it, the trees, for the first time since entering the forest, go silent. Just how long have you been here? I muttered. His neck creaks as he looks up at me. He stares. His initially blank expression steadily morphs. Eyes first, they ease, releasing tension. His mouth follows, disfiguring itself into an open smile as empty as the abyss. Taking a step back, I feel a root attempting to trip me up, then another up the next step. When I look down, I see that multiple roots have surfaced, shredding the top layer of grass and dirt. Everywhere I step, the roots chase until there is no longer anywhere left to escape. One foot is trapped, then the other. They stretch upwards, coiling around my body. Breathing heavily, I grab at the roots, pulling and scratching to no avail. My nails beginning to propel backwards during the flurry of spikes. When my arms too are restrained, I use my voice. That is all I have left. I beg to the skies, though I know very well there is no one near enough to help me. Desperation often encourages a challenge of reality. The roots take their final place around the entirety of my body, silencing me as I am enveloped in a pitch-black void. A soft and uneven voice spoke. At last, my sentence served. Round of applause for Justin, who wrote the story.
And you beat me to it. I was going to get rid of people.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, yes, that is it. The story is done. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I also really appreciate all of you for helping me. I'm going to understand because you guys are cool. Thank you, Mary, for writing the music that we just played.